everybody, it's Liz from West Star Tarot, and today I am recording a video that I have been thinking about making for a long time. And because it involves a lot of decks, I'm wondering, I got kind of like piles of them on a table next to me. It took me a while to kind of get things organized because I knew I had to, I had to pull out a lot of decks, and I had to kind of think about which decks I wanted to use. So anyway, this video is springing up out of or evolving from discussions that I've seen going on in the witchcraft, wise woman, tarot community, online community on Instagram and also on YouTube. So there's been a lot of talk, I think especially since the war on Palestine erupted, about combining your spiritual practices and social activism. And some people have been kind of aghast about that and have been saying, oh no, not me. This is a spiritual platform. I will not be talking about anything else, which is, you do you, is what I'm going to say about that. Fine. However, for me, social activism and my spiritual practices are deeply entwined and always have been. And I think about, I think about the history of how, I'm just going to use the word witch for lack of a better term, how witches have been treated throughout history. And we've always been regarded as dangerous. And I cannot in any way, shape, or form divide my spiritual practices from my social activist practices. To be a wise woman, to be a witch, is to be a change agent. It is to be a social activist. It is to be the change, make the change, be a change maker, to try to make things better in the world. And for me, that's part and parcel. It's as I said, inextricably intertwined, those things. I can't separate them. And because of that, that influences the kinds of tarot decks that I'm drawn to. Now, is every single tarot or oracle deck in my collection reflective of social activism? No way. No, not at all. But I am attracted to those kinds of decks. I like to work with those kinds of decks because tarot is part of my spiritual practice. And as I mentioned, social activism is part of my spiritual practice. So all those things are intertwined and go together. Like I said, many a day goes by that I'm pulling from an oracle or tarot deck that is not doesn't necessarily come from a place of social consciousness or social activism. But as I said, I am attracted to those kinds of decks. And I recently made a video about, let's see if I can think of what the name was. It was a tag to Tammy Pie and Simon at Hermit's Cave about your tarot journey through decks. So we talked about that and talked about our tarot journey and pulled out the decks that we used along the way. And one of the things that I said was, I stayed away from tarot because in the beginning I thought that the only types of decks around were Rider-Waite-Smith. And this was in the 80s, and I didn't see them, I saw them as kind of Eurocentric, male-centric, white-centric, not feminist, not inclusive at all. And I have to think about the place and the time where Waite and Smith developed this deck. So, now that I've worked with these decks and I've worked with tarot for 40 years now, I have a little bit of a different feeling about that. And in fact, Rider-Waite-Smith is now just my go-to system, and I love the Rider-Waite-Smith system and Pixie's artwork. But I started thinking about this just recently when I was kind of getting my thoughts organized about doing this video. And I thought, what about, let's just take a look at a couple of cards from Pixies. So this card has always bugged me. It's supposed to be about giving and receiving and generosity and so forth. And yet, true generosity, true giving does not include making people get on their knees in order to receive a handout. So this guy is dressed, quite nicely. The two folks on their knees look, there's holes and rips, and they're got their hands out begging, and the guy just kind of flings a couple coins their way. So as a social activist, I don't like this card. I don't really have a problem with the meaning behind the Six of Pentacles. If I think about sixes as expansive, and I think about pentacles as having to do with wealth and finances, and so I can see where this card can be about giving in and receiving and sharing and generosity. But this guy, it's kind of like the oligarchs that are running the world right now. They'll give us their little pittance, but we've got to get down on our knees in order to receive that. So I thought of this card. And then I thought of this card, the Seven of Wands. And I do think that this is a social activist card. I'm going to show a card from a deck later on that really does portray this in a social activist manner. But this person is standing up to defend their position, defend their beliefs, defend themselves and their community from people who are attacking them. So Seven of Wands is, I think, also a political or a social justice or social activist card. It's about standing up against what you see as wrong, standing up for what you believe is right. And of course, justice. I mean, again, I'll probably be showing a couple cards from other decks that show justice in a social activist way. But this too is to me a card from Pixie, from the Rider-Waite-Smith deck that I see reflective of social activism. And then the Death card. Death says, well, King, you know, your wealth and power might extend your life a little bit, may put me off a little bit because you have plenty of food and a nice place to live and medical care and warm clothes and fire in your fireplace and food in your pantry. But you know what? Even your money and power can't put me off forever. So even your money and power will not keep you alive beyond a certain time. So I think that there's a statement about that one as well. So I have a few decks out here. I don't know that I pulled out, they're all tarot. I don't know that I pulled out all of my decks that I see as kind of relative to inclusivity, diversity, social activism, a power to the people, all that kind of stuff, feminism. Oh, shoot, I just realized I forgot one of the tarots I wanted to bring out. Darn. Well, oh well. Sorry about that little hiccup, but I really did want to get that deck. It was important to me. So anyway, okay, I'm not going to do this in any kind of particular order. I am grabbing this deck. And a lot of these decks are decks that I have shown on my channel multiple times and have discussed a lot. First, I think I'll just get these two I mean, I don't want to say out of the way because I love these decks, but I just recently talked about both of these decks on the video I did, Journey Through Decks. This is Mother Peace, my first tarot deck. And it's a feminist deck, and it's inclusive. I love this. It's like, yeah, don't have the fox guarding the hen house. And that's kind of what we have in the United States right now. Strength, judgment, and Six of Cups. So that's Mother Peace. And then, of course, I'll have to show, this I think is one of my all-time favorite tarot cards. It's from Daughters of the Moon. It's called The Witch, and it is that deck's version of the Magician. Celebration is Judgment. Mawu. Giving birth. I mean, the strength and power of women, the nerve for the patriarchy to call us the weaker sex. Fuck off, man. We give birth. We go through 9 months of pregnancy and give birth and can feed the baby with our own bodies. Here's Mawu giving birth on the back of an elephant. I mean, how strong is she? Nothing weak about that. Kali, the wise one. So this deck has, you know, all sorts of women, young, old, gay, straight. Here we have Isis, so from all different cultures. This is Spider Woman. This is the Seven of Swords. I love this. This is the Ten of Swords, showing a community of women meeting in a council, in a lodge. Here's another group of women coming together. I love this one. This is Namu. And here we have Hecate. This is, here we go. It's Maiden, Mother, Crone we have for the quartz. So this is just a sample. This is the Maiden of Flames, Mother of Flames, and Crone of Flames. And those are the fire signs. Next up is a deck that is very near and dear to me. And I'm going to say that there is an awareness of social justice in this deck, but it isn't quite as in your face as like, say, for example, Daughters of the Moon. So this is the Gaian Tarot by Joanna Powell Colbert. And we can see here the importance of community. And Joanna actually created this deck using people in the community that she lived in as the models. And you can see we have different ages, we have folks from different walks of life, you know, all a variety of folks, young, old. This is making a statement about not necessarily climate change, but the importance of taking care of the earth. This is the world. Does she call it? Yeah, Gaia, the world. And you can see I have that print right there. It's one of my favorites. So that is the Gaian Tarot, and you know, that is an inclusive deck that I think speaks to you know, the importance of social activism and living in community and supporting our communities. The next one, oh, this is the one I wanted to show you, a couple of them. This is from Tarot de Saint Croix. And these decks so far are decks I have mentioned multiple times. So this is Lisa de Saint Croix. So this is the Five of Pence, and it's the Virgin of Guadalupe. And these are folks, day workers, waiting outside for people to offer them work. This is, I remember when I first got this deck and I came to this card, it just put a smile on my face because I had never been a big Hierophant lover, but I love seeing the Dalai Lama in that role. And we see Isis as the High Priestess. This was, I think, one of the first times I saw a woman or a female presenting person as the Hermit. Here we have, for the Five of Wands, we have folks out protesting, doing their social justice work. And this is the Seven of Wands I was mentioning before. This is social activism at its ultimate. These are indigenous Amazonian folks who are standing their ground, protecting the rainforest from corporations that want to just mow it down. So I'm just taking a few cards from each of these decks because I didn't want this to be a 7-hour video. This is Super Lunaris. I really love this deck. It's a collage deck, and I'm not usually that huge a fan of this art style, but this one I think is gorgeous. The cardstock is fabulous. So this is the world. And I love that we see all different looking women in the Three of Cups. We see a beautiful elder indigenous woman as the High Priestess. We see, you know, this is, you know, a group of folks that aren't necessarily Christian. And here, same thing. Beautiful elder in the Nine of Pentacles. This one I really love. This is the Two of Cups. And it's it's about self-love and taking care of ourselves. So that's Super Lunaris. And I think that, you know, that is, again, an inclusive deck that has cards that speak to the importance of social activism and inclusivity. And again, I think those are all intertwined. This is the Unfolding Path. And I wouldn't necessarily think of this deck as a deck that speaks to social activism so much as I feel like it is very inclusive and has folks from all walks of life represented. And I use this deck a lot when I do readings for like the public. If I have an event, a tarot event, and I'm reading for, I don't know who I'm going to be reading for, but you know, it's a wide variety of folks that I feel are really reflective of the people that I see in my everyday life. And I love this, having an elder as a page. I think that's really important. Here we see another female presenting elder as a hermit. I love this star card, gorgeous. And usually we see a female presenting person in the Nine of Pentacles, and this time we see a male. And we see differently abled folks, and oh, here's my Seven of Wands. Seven of Wands, Six of Swords, Eight of Cups are some of my favorite tarot cards. I always look when I get a new deck at those cards. All right. Urban Tarot by Robin Scott is a Thoth-based. I think I did not pull out. So here we have Princess of Discs, the kindergarten teacher. The Matriarch, Queen of Discs. Queen of Wands, Public Defender. Oh, I love this one. Victory. So instead of some dude riding in on horseback, here we have this beautiful being crossing the finish line. This is, I think, one of my favorite Queen of Cups representations. We see the Queen of Cups as a therapist. And so when I saw this card, it really deepened and broadened my ideas about the Queen of Cups in a really beautiful way. And there's an awful lot of therapists who are social activists and are working with disenfranchised folks who need support and care and mental health care. So, you know, I do see therapists as social activists in many cases. All right. Another feminist deck. This is the Wee Moon Tarot. When did this come out? 2023 maybe? I don't know, I've had this a couple years, but my sister gifts me the Wee Moon date book every year for solstice gift and has been doing that for probably 20 years. They have been publishing, I think now for like 40 years. So this is all different people's artwork. And this is a feminist, Wee Moon is all about social activism, feminism, climate change, earth justice, food, you know, making sure our food supply is in good shape, that people get fed. This is the Seven of Earth. So you can see it's a beautiful community garden. community council. So women coming together to water is healing. There are a lot of cards about water and how important water is. And that's another battle that we're fighting, keeping our water supply. I know I read a couple of years ago that I think it was Nestle, our good old friends Nestle, were getting water for free out of a lake in California where there's water shortages all the time, and then they were bottling it and selling it, and they were not giving 1 iota of money to the government in California. They just were taking the water. So, you know, it's that kind of thing. Oh, this one is called Activism. Consciousness raising. So back in the day when feminism, the second or third wave of feminism was coming about, we had consciousness raising groups, and people would gather in each other's living rooms and do consciousness raising. This one I love, and I think I'll end here. This is the Ace of Earth, all one. And that's the goal, isn't it? And look at that beautiful being right there. So this is also a social activism deck, multicultural, inclusive, diverse, and so forth, and makes a point to, I mean, it really is all about social activism. That's what We Moon, that's their whole raison d'etre. So let's see, okay. So this is one of my favorite decks. It's the Delta Enduring by Egan. And sadly, I'm sorry, it's out of print. Oh, I love this deck so much. And it is definitely, so that was strength. And this is a woman leaving an abusive situation. This one is condominiums, coming soon, luxury condos, live, play, love. And it's showing the folks who were living in that building are being displaced. And where will they live once the luxury condos are built? Not in the luxury condos. Oh. So this is earth activism too. We can see this is a pipe, an oil pipe, a gas line, and it's leaking all over Mother Earth. Sage of Oaks. This is, I don't know, family gatherings. Here's this person planting seeds, and you can see that over the course of time the trees get bigger and bigger and bigger. So the importance of keeping care of the earth. This is harm reduction, so it's the meloxicam, the anti-overdose drug. Lovers. This is my favorite, one of my favorite Hierophants. I just love this. Oh, yeah. Praise the Lord and pass the collection. Here's my favorite Justice card. And this is the Devil. So we see this young man walking down the street, minding his own business, but being trailed by the devil. So that is Delta Enduring. And again, I'm only showing you a few of the cards because, as I said, I didn't want to make a 5-hour video. New Era Elements. This is by Ellie Piper. I love this deck, and I think that this deck gets a bad rap from a lot of people because, and I'm not going to show any of these cards, but there's some cards that people feel are offended by because they represent animal cruelty. And of course, that's a form of social activism too, on behalf of our brothers and sisters with whom we share the planet, non-human animals. And I don't know if Ellie is an animal activist, but I think she must be because there are quite a few cards in this deck. So I would say this is sort of an anti-gambling wheel. And each of the courts is represented by a different culture. There's like a family for each of the courts. Here's our Six of Wands, Three of Swords. It's green. This is Thoth-based. I don't ever remember seeing a deck that has a Maori folks represented in it. And like I said, there's a whole all of the courts in the cups come from that culture. This is conflict, and it's, you know, about the military. And, you know, if we could take something like 1/1000th of the amount of money that the United States spends on the military, we could have Medicare for all. We could have housing for all. We could have food for all. We could work on some climate change initiatives. We could fix the roads and bridges and so forth. But no, we give tax breaks to billionaires and fund a toxic military. This is called power, and it's like a nuclear power plant. Here, this is an animal card, it's not, I don't think it's, you know, horrible. It's called oppression, and here it is, this poor creature in a zoo. The tower is has the 9/11 and the Berlin Wall coming down, so it's almost like a bad tower moment and a good tower moment. I love this because we have elder lovers, which is, you don't always see that. And here's our emperor. And that is making an interesting statement, let me tell you. The chariot is like a bulldozery kind of thing, mowing down, you know, the earth, and smoke belching in the background. I love this magician. It's called the Magus, and it's, you know, about the evils of capitalism. You can see this dude is a bit of a trickster. Here we have our friend the Dalai Lama again as the Hierophant. Beautiful Empress. I love that we have an urban hermit. So that is New Era Elements, and I love that deck. Great job, Ellie, and published by US Games. All right. This is one of my all-time favorite decks by Christy C. Rode, Next World Tarot. I have the regular size version, but it's really, really glossy, so I'm going to use the small size because I think it'll won't be as difficult to see the cards. And I thought I would just, I put these in order. I thought I would just show the majors. The guidebook is wonderful. Christy really did a beautiful job on this. Christy's also a social activist, a singer-songwriter, performer, an artist, and a tarot reader and tarot creator. Here's a beautiful woman with a hijab. Look at this gorgeous high priestess, an empress. It's called, not called the emperor, the teacher. And the Hierophant is the messenger. I think this is really an outstanding and beautiful lover's card. So it's this person looking in the mirror and self-love, but also there's, it speaks to the spoon theory, which is about folks who have chronic illness, and they measure the activity level that they'll have each day by how many spoons they feel that they have at their disposal and that day. Oops. Wheel. This is a beautiful justice card, and you see this beautiful being right here, kind of dressed like the Statue of Liberty, and then we have all these people on the street protesting and being social activists. I love that. The Hanged one is called suspension, death, temperance, the devil, the new order of the ages. And this is a protest against the oil industry and, you know, all the mega industries that are destroying the earth. The tower is called revolution. Here we have the star. I love this moon. The sun is beautiful. This is the Judgment card, and it takes place in New York City, and it's interesting because this banner says came out before George Floyd was murdered, but it says I can't breathe. This, I believe, is representing climate change and pollution and how it's affecting our lives. But I think it's interesting that I can't breathe came to have another meaning as well as this meaning. And here we have the world. So this deck is one of my all-time favorites. I love it, love it, love it. It's powerful. Christie's guidebook is powerful. Her imagery is powerful. It's a really important deck for me. And now I'm going to come to the last three decks. This is called the Black Tarot, and it's an Ancestral Awakening Guidebook by Nyasha Williams and Kamishka Naidu. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful deck, and I just want to read what Nyasha says. And this, I can really relate to this, and it's kind of the point I'm trying to make, but in no way as eloquent or impactful or as powerful as she says it. My spirituality has developed and evolved through unlearning and learning, decolonizing my mind and spirituality. I have been learning to embrace traditional spiritual practices that were taken from BIPOC communities, tribes, and groups. Many of our long-established spiritual practices have been demonized through colonization, the media, Hollywood, white supremacy, and under the guise of Christianity. We have significant work to do as a world to untrain ourselves, our minds, actions, and habits from the lies and propaganda that we have been fed for generations by those who currently hold power at the top. So that kind of sums up really eloquently and powerfully my point, and that's why I wanted to read that, and I wanted to make sure. Look at this beautiful Nine of Wands. I love this artwork. This is a lovely deck. And it's Black History Month in the States right now, so I have been using this. I love that hierophant. I've been using this deck a lot throughout the month of February. So that is the Black Tarot. And then I'm going to finish with my current favorite decks. And if you follow my channel, you're not going to be surprised to see what they are. But it is the Game Marseille by Charlie Claire Burgess. Here we have the Queen of Cups, La Maison Dieu Tower. And this is, you can see it says Stonewall. So Charlie Claire Burgess is a social activist. They've written a book called Radical Tarot, which reinterprets the whole deck in from a radical viewpoint. And I use that book a lot, and I use the guidebook for Game Marseille. I love the color palette. I love the queerness of this deck, the inclusivity, the diversity. It's a fantastic deck, and I get incredible readings from this deck. It's so powerful, and I love how Charlie has done the pips. They're sort of pippish, so there's in many of them there's little hints to what the meaning of the card is. Each one looks a little bit different. Here we have La Force, or Strength, Le Bateleur. Look at Temperance. The Knight of Cups. Hanged One. King of Wands. So this is not your standardized Marseille deck. It's queer. It speaks to social justice and social activism. I love that one. The Emperor. Here's the Star. Knight of Swords. Empress. I'm just going by the pip cards because I've shown those. Lovers. King of Swords. King of Cups. Page of Wands. Judgment. Death. Gender is dead. I'll end on that one. So that's Charlie Claire Burgess, Game Marseille. I love this deck. It was the deck that made me be able to read, or helped me be able to become a Marseille. Oh, the future is queer. Oh, so good. And then I'm going to end with Charlie's other deck, Fifth Spirit. This is a Rider-Waite-Smith-ish deck. And it's, may this deck guide you to your truth. For where you find your truth, you'll find your power. And again, it's a queer inclusive deck for a world beyond binaries. And I love seeing this. And, you know, kudos to Hay House for publishing Charlie's indie deck. And the minors are pip-ish. So they're not fully illustrative. This one I really love. As a dog lover and animal lover, and look at the strength. They've taken the dog's collar off and are letting the dog just be leashless. Star. Hanged One. Beautiful World card. This is Charlie and their partner on a picnic in a park after their partner had top surgery, and they're basking in the sun and enjoying a beautiful picnic in the park. I love this King of Swords. So I'm going to end this video on this one, because this is what we need to be doing. We need to be speaking truth to power. We need to be out there. We can't roll over. We can't just hide our heads in the sand. I know we need to take care of each other, and we need to rest and find joy in life through our communities and through supporting each other, but we can't give up. We can't. And this King of Swords is an inspiration to me, and I hope to you. So, my friends, thank you for listening. What do you think? Do you have social activism as part of your tarot and spiritual practice? Do you think I'm crazy? Does it make sense to you? What are some decks that maybe I haven't mentioned that you see as decks that are social activist decks? Anyway, peace and love. Power to the people.